the root cause or the problem here is you don't love yourself enough to walk away.
When there's been a tough day and things haven't gone to plan, or I feel like I've let people down, or my inner critic is really loud, I will hug myself, because at this point ain't nobody else hugging me.
Taking responsibility for like literally everything in your life is so important. Even if things are not in your control, take responsibility.
Life is just a video game.
It is. I wonder when the final boss is gonna be.
Aliaa, what are some of the few things that you've manifested in the last 12 months?
Wow, so many things. So many things that I've manifested. I think a lot of them had to do with my business because that was like my main priority. Hitting financial goals I never thought I could hit. But also I think a lot of it had to do with like my friendships and the experiences that I had with a lot of my close friends over the past year. So in 2024 specifically, I think has been the best year of my life for like just developing my friendships and spending more time with my friends and actually making more time for my friends. And I think it's something I've manifested in the sense that I've always wanted that aspect of like girlhood that I feel like I was missing out on for so many years. So that's, yeah, those are like the two main things I would say manifested over the past year and that I will continue to manifest for the foreseeable.
That concept of girlhood, or having like a gals group, I can relate to that because I never had that when I was younger. I always felt like the ugly black duckling that never quite fit into the girls group, and I just didn't really get it. And I think perhaps you'll agree, with a little bit more masculine go-getter energy when you're younger, it doesn't quite gel sometimes with the girly groups. Do you feel the same?
Yeah, when I was in high school, like it's not that I didn't have any friends, I did. I just felt like I didn't belong. I didn't feel that sense of like girlhood. I didn't feel the sense of femininity that I feel now. And that's not to say that I'm never in my masculine. I very much am. And I know that I sometimes tend to skew more towards the masculine side in a lot of aspects of my life. But I think actively trying to hang out with and spend time with people who bring out the feminine side of me has been so beneficial because for so long I struggled with that. And I think it's important to embrace both sides of the spectrum. I think sometimes some girls might be ashamed of their masculinity, which is not, I don't think it's the point of this whole debate. I think the debate is just to raise awareness to like, hey, just be aware that it's important to also embrace your feminine if you tend to be a bit more masculine most of the time. So that's kind of my take on it.
I agree. I think it's just being, and who you are when you're just being is only possible when the people in your life are the ones that allow you to just be you in your essence without any judgment. You don't feel uncomfortable around them. And so I guess we've both found in recent years this girlhood where we feel like we can just show up as we are. We can speak our minds, we can cry about the things that get us upset, and we're just girls.
Absolutely. We're literally just girls. Literally just girls. And I think that, the best part about this whole thing is that like I never had to actively search for that group of friends, thankfully. I think it's very similar to dating. I mean, just my take on it is sometimes when you are seeking something or you are trying really, really hard to obtain something, you are actually manifesting lack and therefore you will receive lack. Whereas when you are focusing more on the things that are abundant in your life, that's when anything you'd ever wanted will just fall into your lap. So when it comes to like my friends, I think because I've been unapologetically myself, I've not necessarily had to put myself out there. You know me, I'm not like the most social person. Like I'm not one to like go out and meet new people all the time. But I just think that I was so focused on the things that mattered to me the most. And I was very grateful for all the abundance I already had in my life that I was able to attract people like yourself, people like all of our other amazing friends, like my boyfriend into my life without actively having to seek those people. And I think that's what a lot of women are are missing, not so much on the friendship side, but I hear it more on the dating side, where I can understand it's a struggle, especially like in a big city like Dubai, to date and to meet men and get along with men. But I think if we all just started to focus, so cliche, but like focus on ourselves, honestly, like the right man will fall into your lap eventually. That's what I believe in.
I definitely can hand on heart say when I was younger, I had this certain type of confidence where if I fancied someone or if I liked someone, I'd slide into the DMs or I'd be like, "Hi, I'm interested in you." And there is gonna be some people listening thinking like, "What's wrong with that? What's the issue with it?" However, that intensity sometimes can be received from the wrong person, the person who is not ready for, let's say, love, a relationship, giving, building together, but they just want validation. They just want the fun elements
Mhm.
of, let's say, a relationship, but they're not actually interested in you. They're just interested in what you are giving to them or how you're making them feel, which is why, perhaps to the listeners, if they found themselves pursuing a lot and it's never quite worked out, and then they kind of have that anxious attachment of, oh, this isn't going how I wanted it to, that's because you're not attracting, you're repelling.
Absolutely. And it's like, it's interesting you say that with the whole like sliding into people's DMs and like reaching out first because that's like my biggest nightmare. Like when I was younger and I used to have crushes on men and on different guys, like I had never ever made it apparent to them that I was into them. Like it had to be a secret, they couldn't know, but I would just crush on them, like, really hard. And I had, like, this fear of going up to men and talking to men, but every single person I've ever had a crush on has eventually made a move on me or asked me out. Like, this has been consistent over the years, and I think it's because I was giving off the energy of I'm already giving myself everything that I need. Your competition isn't other men, it's me. And I think that's something where a lot of women don't realize that, like, hey, give yourself everything you want a man to give you. Because when a man sees that you're so self sufficient and you're able to take care of yourself and that you're buying yourself the flowers, you're making yourself pretty for you, not for him, that's attractive. And that's going to attract him into your life. Um, so many times you see girls trying to impress men by like dressing a certain way or pretending to be into the same things that he's into. And unfortunately, that either attracts the wrong men or just, yeah, repels the one that you actually want a relationship with, unfortunately.
Can I get an amen? We don't need
Amen.
no man. We don't. Like
No, we don't.
it is incredible when you just are so happy in your own essence
Mhm.
as you are. You can provide yourself everything. You've got your friends. Like, oh, a guy cancels on you. Okay, cool, whatever. I'll go see my friends. Like, or he last minute wants to make a plan. I've already seen my girlfriend. Sorry, I'm busy. I've got my own life.
Yeah.
And that is attractive because you are not coming from a place of lack. You're coming from a place of abundance. You already have your own life figured out. And that is one thing that, as much as I suppose men want to provide, to protect, to support, they don't want to have to feel suffocated by those duties.
Yeah, 100%. And I guess you could also make the argument where it's like, okay, but if I'm not gonna go out and pursue this man, am I just gonna sit at home and like, where am I gonna meet this man if I'm not pursuing him? Now, I don't want you to like swing to the other extreme, right? Because if you're just at home in your pajamas all day, you're working from home, you're not doing anything, then like, yeah, you're never gonna attract this man. That being said, I think that if you're on dating apps all the time and trying really, really hard, you are going to be full of like frustration and anger and this like sense of lack. And whatever you put out into the universe is what you're going to get back. So any feelings of lack or failure of like, oh, I can't find this man, there are no good men, you're going to be met back with that. And it's like this vicious cycle that a lot of women find themselves in, some of my friends included, unfortunately. And I understand the frustration because as women, like, if you wanna have a family, time's ticking. Yes, you can freeze your eggs, but that's expensive, it's complicated, like, I understand the frustration, but at the same time, if you make that frustration imminent, it's only going to bite you in the butt. So, I guess the first or the main thing I would prioritize if I were in, someone's shoes who was looking for a partner is really just try and live my best life, and make sure that I'm not compromising on anything and be almost like as selfish as possible and give myself everything that I need first. Because when you're doing that, you'll find yourself not at home. Like you'll be dressing up nice, going out with the girls, or even taking yourself to a nice coffee shop, taking yourself to the beach. And that's where you might bump into this man eventually, right? It's very I'm very old school. I'm very romantic. I like to believe in these stories where you like one day just you like I don't know, you drop your bag somewhere, you drop something on the floor and some gentleman like picks it up for you and then you lock into each other's eyes and it's like that's it, you know?
It's like the white handkerchief that you just accidentally drop and then they
Yeah.
come and pick it up, that old school move.
Yeah.
It's that low energy vibrational state when you're panicked, you're stressed. What if I don't find someone? And then someone, let's say if you are on the dating app, they unmatch you or they don't message you back. What are you doing? It's the dopamine addiction because as soon as someone else responds or someone else matches with you or another guy sends you a message, you're getting validation. Because what is the honest truth? You're not happy with yourself deep down.
That is so sad but so true. And I see that a lot of women as well are like almost using their bodies as a means to obtain a man. Now, look, I'm not saying that sex isn't important because it is. Like with any partner, you need to have sexual chemistry. It is so important. But I think if you lead with that very early on, it's like, what is this man's intention? Like what is he planning on doing with you? If you're leading with your body, leading with sexuality, a lot of women might feel pressured like, okay, if I sleep with him soon enough, he'll like me. Or if I give him my body, he'll see how good I am in bed or how hot I am and then he'll like me. Cuz I used to think that way back in the day. I used to think men like women who will not hold back and who will have sex with them early on in the dating phase. That's like one of the biggest mistakes I've made because a high value man who actually wants a serious relationship with you will want to get to know you first. And there are good men out there who will not make you feel pressured and who will respect and honor what it is that you want. So I think instead of leading with like sexuality, lead more with, your brains, your personality, humor, if you're a funny person, right? And I think with social media, with Instagram, unfortunately that makes things a lot worse because you're just posting photos of yourself and the man can't see what's behind that, if that makes sense.
Of course, it's the same with the dating apps.
Yeah.
It's the same with the dating apps. It's literally you have 3 lines of text and a few photos to look on the outside something that is good enough to whatever that man might want. And that there's so many elements of attraction, physical or emotional attraction, that are not just how you look or what you can write. And it's really interesting, especially for women, because obviously a lot of their attraction comes from that emotional connection with a man. Their physical attraction is dependent on how they feel emotionally. And you can't figure that out unless you spend time with someone in person. Also, just to go back to that point of what you lead with, imagine, on the other hand, you find a man's dating profile and everything on his profile is picture of him in a private jet, picture of him dressed in completely designer clothes, Rolls Royce. Well, you can get a lot of that here in Dubai.
Hmm.
What is he showing? He's showing, okay, I've got a lot of financial resource, but that's the part of him that he's selling. Who is he though? And
Yeah.
why is he leading with that? If someone buys into him or wants to get to know him, do they want to get to know him or do they just want to get to know the finances that he's got?
Yeah, I feel like sometimes when people lead too much with money on like the guy's side, or if it's a girl with her body, it's because they're insecure about something else internally and they have to compensate with this other thing that they have going for them. So let's say the man who's like really, really wealthy, he might be just really boring or he might not have the best body, for example, but hey, he's got money. So he's going to lead with that. He's going to lead with something that makes him feel more secure because there's some underlying insecurity in there. And that's okay. Everyone is insecure, but just be wary of that. Be wary that sometimes people are just like going to show their best side online or on dating apps and that there's so much more beneath that. And I think, unfortunately, people just get into situations where there's this spark on the first date or they see the Rolls Royce or they see, let's say if it's a man, he sees the girl's body or her beauty and they get enamored by that. And then a few months down the line, reality hits. There's all the other shit that they have to deal with that they didn't know about at the start. Um, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of like dating apps or meeting people solely through social media. I really, really love it when things happen organically. A lot of the very happy couples I know in my life have met that way, where it was very, like, just yeah, organic, natural, old school, traditional, and I think that's the way it should be.
It's a much more romantic story to be able to tell
Yeah.
also. There's a power in when you do come from that place of abundance, being able to turn away what is not for you or is what is not meeting your needs. Let's say, for instance, if you are getting that amount of validation from someone when you haven't done the work on yourself, for you to then be mistreated by them because they're probably not the right person for you, or maybe their life mission, their life vision doesn't actually align with yours, and you're going in different directions, and you kind of deep down know that you're not truly happy because you don't have that cohesiveness of enjoying life together, but you can't seem to say no because you're enjoying so much of the positives that you're getting. What would you say to someone stuck in that situation?
It's hard because there's different levels of, let's say, um, not abuse, but I guess things that are unacceptable that one can tolerate, and obviously, it just comes down to, I guess, almost like an equation where it's like, okay, the pain of staying the same or the pain of change, that age-old question. And it's like, for some people, unfortunately, they have such a high threshold or such high tolerance, pain tolerance, that they're willing to stay the same and endure this pain. And everyone hits a breaking point at some point, and it differs person to person. I think a lot of what you've probably gone through as a child can impact this. Therapy is always there. Friends are always there to, help bullshit check you. It's a touchy one, but I guess to anyone watching, if you're stuck in this cycle, it's like almost asking yourself questions that you would ask a friend. Put your best friend in the same situation that you're in, because that allows you to be a lot more objective. So if you're in a situation where you're being mistreated or you're not getting what you deserve, you know, um, what if your best friend was in that situation, or like your sister or someone you really love and care about? What would you say to them? You'd say to them, "Hey, like, just leave, get out, like, this is you deserve so much better." And I think the root cause or the problem here is you don't love yourself enough to walk away. Why would you say something different to someone that you love than to yourself? So you don't love yourself. And so now it's a new question of, okay, how do I start loving myself more? And it's not an easy question to answer. It's difficult. I think sometimes learning how to spend a lot of time alone and romanticizing time alone and getting to know what you enjoy and sitting through those like really, really uncomfortable thoughts sometimes is really important to get to that place with yourself where you learn to love yourself enough and then build up the strength and the courage to leave, to let go. Now, I'm seeing this from a very privileged point of view because some people don't have anyone else that they can turn to. They only had this person that is actually mistreating them. And in that case, it is difficult and you might have to embark on like a lonely chapter, but it's okay because eventually you'll come out on the better side of it. It's a lot easier said than done though. But I think those are some tools that, someone listening can potentially start with if they're struggling.
For sure. That's really helpful. And relationships, love, it's that kind of thing that no matter how many equations you seem to throw at it, it still doesn't make sense in the end.
It doesn't. And I think this is me saying this from like a place where I've made stupid decisions in the past where I knew better and I would have given someone else completely different advice than what I had done. It's it's interesting because a lot of people might think that as humans we are rational. I don't think we are.
Love makes you crazy,
Love makes you
drunk in
crazy.
love.
No, but like for real, I think you see the world with like rose-tinted glasses. Is that the expression where like you just don't, and then all the red flags, you start to see them with hindsight.
Mm.
So it's like after you've left or after you've decided like, okay, enough is enough, and you look back, you're like, oh my gosh, red flag, red flag, red flag. How did I not see this coming? My friends were right. That's just how the cookie crumbles.
Oh, and the oxytocin. Oh
Oh,
gosh. When it comes through strong. I've had times where I've walked out of a room and been like, that was a red flag. I'm gonna have to address that. Next time I go to address it, the neurotransmitters come flooding through in full force, and the chemicals of what it feels like to be in love is just crazy. And that's why actually having that environment of supportive people or people who you aspire to. This is one thing that I have. I have friends where I aspire to have relationships like they
hmm.
do and families like they do. I have friends where I aspire to run businesses. That's you.
Oh,
Like
thank
they
you.
do. And you use those as role models. And then when you find yourself in that situation, you go to them and you say, hey, if this were you in this situation, how would you respond or what would you do? And then you have the real honesty and the real truth. And if you don't have people like that in your life, again, it's like using your best judgment, speaking to a friend, speaking to a loved one. You could at this point even use AI to be an objective voice.
Chat GPT is like it's dangerously addictive because whenever I have a question or thought in my mind, previously I would just let it linger and just be like, "Oh yeah, it's just a question that I don't know the answer to." But like now it's like instantly I can get an answer to anything that I want like as emotional as the question might be.
Yeah.
It's scary because I'm not really talking to a human, I'm talking to a robot. Yeah.
But it helps. You've got these thoughts flowing around in your brain. You can't seem to put them to bed. You can literally type in the scenario, hey, I'm stressed over XYZ and it's causing me to feel like this. I need to figure out how to get my thoughts straight.
Mhm.
Can you give me some journal prompts?
Very true.
Boom.
Boom. Absolutely. Speaking of journaling, it's funny because like I've never been one to like use prompts. I'll do so occasionally. I think most of my journaling I do as like a manifestation exercise. So like a visualization where something that's really, really been helpful for me, or not helpful, but I guess it's fun because I like to daydream, is I'll write a future date on my journal. So instead of writing today's date, I'll write like 27th of April 2028 or something.
You couldn't have chosen my birthday.
Sorry. Uh,
20, can we change it to the 26th?
whatever, any day in the future. And then I'll just write in the present tense as if it is today, but obviously with like all my goals and hopes and dreams accomplished and achieved.
I love that.
And it's scary how there have been so many times where I will look back on those previous entries and my life has turned out to be that. Where this is going to sound so crazy. People listening might think that I'm crazy and I am. So you're right. I had a bit of like a back injury last year and it was really annoying because I love training and I couldn't train legs properly for like the longest time. And I really wanted it to get better. So this is probably like 30 days before it actually got better. I wrote down in my journal like the 8th of May 2024. Today I went to the gym with my friend Sash. We had an amazing leg day. Like I'm so glad my back is better and I can train legs like full force again. And then I wrote down the rest of my day. And literally on that day when we were in Malta together was the first leg day back where I could train properly because my back stopped hurting. So I almost like wrote it into existence. It's crazy. Same with like visas, by the way, because I've had a really bad history with like getting visas so last minute. So like literally the week before, I'm like, okay, I just received my visa today and I'm on the plane on my way to this destination. And it sounds so stupid, but like sometimes just like saying things in the present tense that you want is so powerful because time does not exist, ladies and gentlemen. Time does not exist. The future doesn't exist, neither does the past. Like it's always in the now. So you can say things that you would like to happen, and it's like, okay, it's going to happen eventually. Just say it, speak it into the present moment. It's such a hard concept to understand, A really good book is The Power of Now, because it actually makes you realize that literally now is all we have. Um, and manifesting has done so much for my life, and I'm sure it has for you as well.
So much. The the method that you use where you write a date in the future, I love that. And I think I'm going to start doing that. What I like to do is just imagine a scene in my life in the future and I'm writing about how it feels to be there. So it's similar to you, but you just literally write that specific date. One thing that I find is I don't go back and reflect enough on what I've written because actually the process of writing it down as if it already has happened then means you're starting to do the actions, behave, think the way that you need to for it to occur. So I'm sure that there's plenty of things that I've written down that maybe haven't happened. You know, maybe they just haven't come to existence. Or maybe I've decided that I don't really want that thing anymore. Actually, there's quite a few things that I wrote about in present tense as if I was, striving to manifest them. But it was also me going the wrong way about it. Like, you can't say in on the 27th of April 2028 I'm going to be married to Brad Pitt. Like you can't you
We need to keep it realistic. Absolutely.
but it's more so what does that signify to you? That you're with someone that you're incredibly attracted to, they love you wholeheartedly, they're your biggest support, they provide for you, protect you, and you have the funniest, most fun relationship ever with tons of experiences. If that is truly what you're asking for, okay, don't write Brad Pitt because you can't make certain things happen.
Absolutely. I think there's like taking it too far, which is like a bit of a caveat to this whole manifesting thing. If you say to me like, "Hey, I'm gonna go fly tomorrow," like just me like flapping my arms and flying into the sky, honey, I don't think we can do
We
that
could
just
try.
yet. We can try, but you might get hurt in the process. And I think with manifesting, I think the problem that a lot of people have with it, a lot of realists, and I'd like to think that I'm pretty pragmatic and realist as well, is they say, look, all you have to do is just change your behavior. You don't have to believe, you don't have to manifest, like just change your behavior. I get that point, but believing makes it so much easier to change your behavior, because even if you don't believe in yourself, technically, yeah, it's possible to still take action. Like today, I can say, I don't believe that I'm gonna be a billionaire, but I can still somehow take action to try and get there. It's gonna be a lot easier and a lot more enjoyable for me, though, to take those actions, take those steps, if I have not just a belief, but like certainty that I have $1 billion. You know, it's
If you are a busy, career driven woman and you know that your inability to lose the body fat that you want to lose is stopping you from living a confident, successful life, then hear me out. We have just launched our Fat Loss Accelerator program, which is made specifically for women who are constrained for time, yet they want to lose anywhere between 10 to 25 pounds of body weight within 90 days. Throughout this process, we're also going to teach you exactly what you need to know so that you can maintain this result forever. That it's the lifestyle changes and the habits that you need to implement for the rest of your life to finally become that confident and successful woman who excels in all areas of her life. So if you're interested in finding out more about our Fat Loss Accelerator program, then send me a message on Instagram. Send me the words Fat Loss Accelerator. My Instagram is Millie at Team CBM. The link is in description below, and I will get back to you with all the information that you need to know. Back to the episode.
if you say to like literally any of your friends, if you're trying to encourage them, like, hey, you can do it, like, oh, and they say, I don't think that I can, you say, of course you can. You're cheering them on. You're saying to them, of course you can do it. Absolutely. Why don't we do that to ourselves? It just makes taking action and taking those next steps and behaving in a certain way so much easier. So, to anyone who thinks manifesting is bullshit, it's not like this magical power that you're summoning. It's literally just hyping yourself up. Like, that's all that it is. And I just wish more people understood that.
If you are in this situation, which I'm sure many of the listeners have been, where you're repeatedly saying to someone in your life, you are capable, you can do it, I believe in you, and they never listen or take that on board and instill that belief that you have in them, in themselves, they will stay stuck forever, no matter how much you cheer them on. And I've seen this with loved ones in the past, be it friends or family. I also used to be that person for a while where I had people who believed in me when I didn't. I was at rock bottom. Nothing changed. And you can't save someone else. Again, that nice old proverb, you can take a horse to water, but if it won't drink, it's not going to drink. It's really sad.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this right now and you're hoping to get something out of it, you're going to get nothing out of it unless you actually start doing what we're telling you to do.
Absolutely. Really good books you guys can read is Manifest by Roxy Nafousi. Very good book. I know that you like that one. One that I personally love, a bit crazy, is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. This is specifically for manifesting like financial abundance and wealth. Any other books that you have in mind? I'm trying to think. The Power of Now I already mentioned. Really, really good.
For believing, I definitely would say the easiest, quickest way that you can get in and out and understand that process would be the book Manifest by
Yeah.
Roxy.
It's a very clear step-by-step guide. Very like there's practical application. So definitely really good book to get started. And like there are so many communities online of other girls who are like manifesting, and I think it can be really lonely if your circle doesn't believe in that or isn't into it because you're like, oh, I'm just doing this by myself now. But I think sometimes finding a community of other people who are into it as well is really, really helpful.
That's incredibly true. There's a lot of, you can type into YouTube Manifest and you'll find so many different YouTubers who talk about this abundance mindset, and there's specific ones to each domain of what we're talking about. So I know certain relationship gurus that talk about this abundance or attracting. They talk about this black cat, white cat energy of like how you need to carry yourself in order to eventually attract what you want. Now, again, it's important not to manipulate reality too much and to just be, but it helps you to bring out the parts of you that will eventually get you what you want. And you've spoken to me before, certain examples of people in your life where you find, particularly in the love department, that they just seem to attract all the right type of people from the ways that they carry themselves, dress, speak, the environments that they put themselves in. And I think that would be quite an interesting story to tell.
Yeah. I actually have a friend, like, she's always attracted very, like, masculine men because she's a very feminine woman. Men who will fly her out places, who will treat her like an absolute princess. These men aren't perfect, they are flawed, but they're out there, the ones who will step up and hold the door open for you. You know, like chivalry is not dead.
It's
I
not.
swear it's still out there. I seen literally just last week I was like leaving this hotel and I just saw this man open the car door for his wife.
I
And
love
I'm
it.
like I'm like, "Adam, hello? Can you do that please?" Anyway, tangent. It's still out there. So and so back to my friend, it's because she presents herself in such a way where she's not pretending to be someone else, but she's like just in her entire essence so feminine and so confident. And she treats herself with so much respect and she puts so much care into her appearance and herself, you know, as a human being that she's attracting those people who want to give her that same level of care and attention and respect. Whereas if you're not put together, if you're not, I'm not saying you have to do a full face of makeup every day. I'm not saying you have to dress up full glam every day, but it's like if you're putting that love and care and effort into your appearance, at least as a woman, you will definitely get more men come up to you talking to you than if not.
Of course, you want a fit, strong man. Where are you going to find them? Probably in the most respectable training facilities or going out for a run for a nice place. Like, you've got to put yourself in the spaces and the places where you'll find someone that has the same hobbies and same desires. And ultimately, if you'll be compatible and you wake up as an early bird at 5 a.m., don't expect when you go out with the girls once in that month and you have a few drinks that on that night you're going to find the person, because where's the compatibility going to be? There's success leaves clues, right?
Yeah.
So we've got to follow that trail. And with business, this is something, again, you've got this track record of manifesting down to like monthly revenue
Yeah.
of exactly what you wanted. There's going to be a lot of business owners or people who want to go very far in their careers listening to this. So, what would you say has been the most helpful form of manifesting when it comes to money and financial abundance?
I like to visualize a lot. I like to sometimes just, let's say if I'm doing cardio or I'm on a walk somewhere, it sounds really, really stupid, but I'll just visualize the numbers in my head, whether it's revenue, whether it's what's in my bank account, and I'll visualize very, very big numbers. I will take a screenshot of like my Stripe report and change the numbers to what I would like it to be. And I have that everywhere on my like phone background, my laptop, my vision board. It's always front of mind. And I almost act as if it's an inevitability. So like it's not that I want to attain this goal, is that this goal has already happened. Time just hasn't caught up yet. So this is the biggest thing. It's so simple, but so many people struggle to be certain. It's not just believing, it is certainty. It is eliminating all other possibilities. So if you have a specific goal in mind with your business, whether it's hitting a certain amount of revenue or saving a certain amount of money, you need to believe that, or not believe, but just be certain that it has happened. And when you have that certainty deep down, you don't even have to like think anymore. It becomes effortless. Day to day, you're gonna put in the work. You're gonna do what's required to get there. The money doesn't just fall into your lap. But when you have that certainty, you have no choice but to execute because you are so certain. Does that make sense?
Of course. And you are no longer paralyzed by the anxiety of what you need to do because you're certain that it is going to happen. But you're not certain, I'm going to sit on the sofa and eat chips all day, it's going to happen. You're certain because, okay, I'm going to show up to work today because I know that just time when it catches up will mean that I'm a millionaire.
100%. 100%. Because people always think it's like, oh, so if I just manifest, I can just sit there and do nothing. I'm like, no, honey. No,
Uh-uh.
honey. Honey, there have been times where I put in like just very long days of work and lots of tears have been shed. It's not easy, this whole manifesting thing, but it's like, it works. It works. I think everyone who's been successful in their lives, whether they want to believe it or not, they knew that they would be. A lot of people might say, oh, I just worked really hard, but like, okay, you worked really hard because you knew, you were sure that it would amount to something.
With that being said, there's certain tools and techniques that some of these successful people will use. Let's take Tony Robbins, and he obviously will use his physical state. He'll also use neurolinguistic programming, the way that you speak to yourself, and the way that you change your body's energy. Those things are not like woo woo, like I'm going to write down this date and as if it's already happened. That's biochemical in the body. That's shifting your state to be in a better position to come at your day with big energy. I could be crawled up in the fetal position after I'm really stressed and feeling burnt out, or I could, even though it sounds ridiculous, do the Mel Robbins 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get up out of bed, lift my arms like a shining star and be like, I can't wait to start the day, and speak to myself in the mirror like today's going to be a good day. Today's going to be an
100%.
amazing day. It
It's
seems
crazy.
crazy, but how many times have you done that?
Well, I don't go crazy and like star jump. That's not my vibe. But for me, it's more of like an internal like lift, like raising my vibration. It's literally quantum physics. If you read any Joe Dispenza books, like it's incredible. He's helped people literally walk again
Yep.
after being like completely paralyzed. It's incredible, the stories. But it's like I said, it's like your internal chemistry. It's quantum physics. It's you are literally able to raise your physical state, your energy to a point where you are going to take the actions necessary to reach your goal. So people always say affirmations are dumb, it doesn't work. It's because you're doing the affirmations with a bad attitude. It's because you're
Because
looking
your
in the
attitude
mirror.
stinks.
It is. Like you're looking in the mirror like, I am successful. I am worthy. And it's like, you sure?
Who are you trying to convince?
Who are you trying to convince? No, but like for real. Whereas if like I don't do the affirmations. I don't. For me, it's like very internal. I think it's something that it's very it comes naturally to me. Ever since I was a kid, I daydream a lot. Like crazy. Like when I was a kid, I used to daydream about like Harry Styles.
I didn't think we were going there.
But like just to say that it doesn't have to be this outward positivity like affirmations thing. It can be just like, you sat like on an airplane looking out the window and just literally thinking about one day being on a holiday in Italy with your boyfriend, and then he gets down on one knee and proposes to you with a three
You've been
carat
living
ring.
in my dreams? You've been you've been getting in my head?
Guess you have the same dreams. Or you could be thinking about like the numbers in your bank account going up, or how much money you're gonna make, or flying first class, or whatever you want. Like you just have to get to a point where your physical like state has been elevated. And this is backed by science, evidence-based, that when you are in an elevated state, you will perform better, you will do better, you will take the actions that you need to take to get to that next level. Whereas if you have a fucking shit attitude, pardon my French, you're not gonna go anywhere, unfortunately.
Of course. I worked with an incredible mentor, and it was so funny. I wish there was a fly on the wall, like a little camera to film me whilst I was doing these sessions with her. And she really got me to lean into that physical state. So we were talking about leadership and how do I feel when I show up as a good leader? How do I feel when I show myself self-compassion? And I'm there in my freaking dining room at my laptop, hugging myself after a hard day. And it sounds crazy, but I still do that. When there's been a tough day and things haven't gone to plan, or I feel like I've let people down, or my inner critic is really loud, I will hug myself because at this point, ain't nobody else hugging me. So it still then comforts me and soothes me to be like, okay, I'm in a better physical state. Tomorrow will be a good day. Whereas so many people actually do the complete opposite, where they're like, you're a piece of shit, you're not worth nothing, you keep failing at everything. Have you ever had like a loud inner critic like that?
Yeah, when I was a teenager, it was like really bad. I think for a lot of us though, during our teenage years, that's kind of normal with all the hormonal shifts that are going on, and just our teenage years are never the best.
No.
People who peaked in high school, that's so sad. Anyway, no, but like those like popular girls who were like really pretty in high school, like what are they doing now?
I see. They've got so many mouths to feed.
Exactly. Anyway, what were we saying?
We're talking about the inner critic.
The inner critic, yeah, I think everyone does have the inner critic, and it's interesting you mentioned those like self-soothing techniques, like hugging yourself, doing something nice for yourself. Unfortunately, a lot of like the self-soothing techniques that people use are actually very detrimental, like binge eating, drinking, the negative self-talk. And I think it comes back to this place of like you have self-love now. So you are treating yourself as if you were treating a loved one, you know? Whereas people who let that inner critic win, it's not because they don't know what to do, so they don't love themselves. They probably know, like logically, like, okay, I should probably not talk shit to myself. I should probably be kinder because this is not helping. But because are so they just hate themselves so much, as sad as it is, 'cause I've been there. You almost just like wallow in the self-pity because you just don't have any self-love and you've not done that work on yourself. I have journal entries from when I was like 15. Oh my God, I can still see like, the tear stains on the journal pages. And it's like writing the most horrific shit about myself into this journal. I look back and I'm like, I do not recognize this girl. Like, who is she? IDK her, you know? It just goes to show that it is possible to go from someone who hates themselves so much, who just feels like they are worthless, that they're a useless piece of shit, and to eventually one day come out of that. I think for me, the environment change was huge. Because I grew up in Dubai and then I moved to the UK to study, like I think that move and just being alone a lot more is so cheesy, but I kind of found myself. I didn't have to go to Bali. I found
You found
myself.
yourself in London?
Yeah, I
Of
did.
all places?
Yeah, I did. I found myself in London. Anyway, and I don't know, I just developed like, and also finding the gym. I think the gym was a big part of that. That's when the move coincided with when I started lifting weights and going to the gym. And that was huge for me because then I started to develop self-love because I was jacked.
Ain't nothing. You know, I laughed, but the thought I had in my mind as you were speaking and you were reflecting on your old journal entries, it sparked a really intense memory for me, which was when I first started my transformation journey in 2017 and I took my first photos. I remember writing literally like Dear Diary style. And I'm really sad that this document got corrupted because I was doing it on my MacBook on Pages. But I remember vividly writing down, I hate how my body looks. I'm so unconfident. I would never take my clothes off to be intimate. I don't think I'll ever comfortably be able to have sex with anyone. I remember writing that down to be like, what is the point in being here if I can't have a relationship, if I can't like be loved by someone because I don't even love myself? And that was my reality 7, 8 years ago. It is incredible though, just with a little bit of self-belief. And I was blind at that point. I was like, fuck it. I might as well try and see what happens. But if I could go back in time and instill self-belief into myself then, oh my goodness, I don't know where I'd be. If someone could have just waved that wand and been like, believe in yourself now to the extent that I do here today, crazy.
Yeah, it's honestly crazy, like, thinking back and like, "Oh, like, what if this one little thing had changed, or what if I had a bit more self-belief?" But that being said, I'm sure you don't regret any part of your journey because, like, even though it was so hard, like, that's why you are who you are today, is because you had to go through that, right? And I think a big part of it is, like, social media helped me a lot. I don't know about you, but, like, for me, seeing other girls, like, I was, like, the era with those, like, Nikki Blackketer and, like,
Mhm.
Karina L, these Gymshark girls. I was, like, looking at them, like, lifting really heavy weights, and I was like, "They look really good." Like, I kinda wanna look like that. And I think sometimes seeing other people do it can help you instill that belief that you could do it too. It's like, "Oh, if they can do it, why can't I?" It was the same with business, to be honest, like, I didn't even know the levels that I had reached were even possible
Mhm.
in the industry that we're in the business that we're in, until I saw someone else do it, and I was like, "Oh, that's possible? Okay. Challenge accepted. Let's go, you know? So I think surrounding yourself with people or at least finding people online or other success stories of people who have done it can really, really help you instill that like self-belief and like kind of start that machine, right? It's why we post testimonials of our clients because potential clients or prospects be like, oh, so so and so could do it on her program. Why can't I? So I think that's really powerful as well.
One thing which we haven't touched on, and this is more so erring on the logical side, based off of what you said, video testimonials, evidence, track record again and again and again and again and again and again, that you are an incredible coach and you have an incredible coaching business that can get results. But also from a business perspective, you've worked with God knows how many mentors and spent who knows how much money at this point on other people who have track records of helping other people build really good online coaching businesses and get rich. So the thing comes again that I mentioned before, that success leaves clues, but you've got to do something. You can't just watch the testimonials. You got to pay to play.
100%. And it's sad because a lot of the time people will see all the testimonials. They'll see all the proof that it is possible. But I think they're just stuck in this cycle of like, oh, but what if it doesn't work for me? And I think those are the people where nothing will work for them. People who say to me, I don't think this can work for me, or if they go into the program saying that, I could have the best program in the world, but honey, it's not going to work for you because you already have accepted defeat. This is something that I've noticed not only when it comes to like fitness coaching, but in business mentorships because I've been in several different business mentorships. There are some people who have also been in several different ones along with me, and they always do well because they go into it saying this is going to work.
That's so
Even if
true.
the mentorship is kind of shit, or if there or if there's some parts of the mentorship that aren't really good, like they just take the best parts of the mentorship and they just keep going. Next mentor. Okay, took all the good bits. Okay, next. And then you have those who are like, yeah, mentorships don't work, man. Like this so and so, I did his mentorship. It was terrible. I didn't make any money, and he kept all my money. He didn't give me a refund. And then I worked with this guy, and it was terrible. They didn't refund me, and I listened to everything. No, they didn't, and I didn't get anything back. It's like the common denominator is you, not like, you know what I mean? It's the same with dating. It's literally the same. Men are trash. I hate. It's bad because the thing is, the more you say this, the more trash will come your way. Like, men are trash. This guy cheated on me. This guy tried to do this inappropriate thing that we're not going to talk about. Like, it's like, honey, you're enabling. It takes two to tango, right?
Can we get a mic drop, please, and a big applause? Because it's
Thank you.
so incredibly true. It's pattern recognition. If you are repeatedly shit at something, and we all have things that we're repeatedly shit at. We're never going to be perfect. We're all working through our own things. But own it. Find someone that's going to support you to fix that. Pay to play. And believe that you are capable of changing.
Yeah.
Everything will be fine.
Taking responsibility for like literally everything in your life is so important. Even if things are not in your control, take responsibility. Because it's better than just sitting back and being like, oh, too bad. Couldn't do anything about it. Like, woe is me. It's like, no, like, okay, what can I do better next time? Always, always, always take responsibility, whether it's like in business, in relationships, anything. I think, yeah, owning it and taking responsibility and accountability, you're going to get so much farther ahead in life than if you just didn't do that.
You've just blown my mind because I just had like almost like a flashback of the last few years of these different domains of life. I was shit at managing my finances. I got the RTT therapy to get better at finances and a financial advisor. Great, fix that one. I was choosing shit men. I got life coaching / relationship coaching to stop choosing shit men. Great, fix that one, hopefully, in the process. Same with business coaching. I was stuck. I was feeling like I was never going to be able to get to where I wanted to. Like I hit my ceiling. I changed my attitude, got a new business mentor. Great, things are going well. It's like so crazy when you look at it that way because like life is just a video game.
It is. It is. I wonder when the final boss is going to be. Have you ever like played Mario Kart or like Super Mario World?
Yeah?
Yeah.
The big egg guy?
That's how I see life. Not the big egg. What's his name? Bowser?
Yes.
That green thing at the end.
Who's the egg? I'm thinking of Sonic the Hedgehog.
No, I don't. I think I'm a bit too young for that.
You're only like 2 years younger than me.
3. Anyway.
Gosh, we're getting close to 30. Me.
Sorry. You don't look a day over 22.
Thanks. It's the Botox. We're honest here.
What were we saying?
I think we were saying everything that anyone has ever needed to hear to go and succeed. And I swear to God, if this episode has fired someone up to go and make a change, we want to hear about it. And we want to hold you accountable to what you say that you're going to do. If you say that you need to go and find a mentor for something, go and do it. We'll hold you accountable. Just message us on Instagram.
Yes, just DM us.
What's your Instagram?
At Aliaa Lifts. With 2 A's at the end. So it's ALIAALIFTS. Lifts is my last name. No, it's not.
I will leave your links in the description box. And if you did enjoy this, please share. And we will possibly record another one on a topic that you might like us to do. But Aliaa, she's my incredible best friend. We found each other 4 or 5 years ago and our lives have just skyrocketed since. So can't wait to see where we are in the next 5 years.
Yeah, same. Really excited.
Love you.
Love you.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Bye. I don't know where to point, so I'm pointing everywhere.